Hey, hey, hey.
Hey,
Hello.
Hey, sisters. How are we today?
Doing really well. Nice to be back again. How's everyone's week been?
my week has been quite busy actually. I've been working, but I'm good, yeah. Enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah, another episode today of Sisterskeeper, and
Woohoo.
such a wonderful day. And we have a guest today, our young sister, Enala. Enala, who is,
Hi.
Welcome, Annie.
Hey, Annie.
I was going to give a
Hi.
whole statement and then you've just thrown me off track. But Annie, welcome. We love to have you here. And please just have fun with us as we discuss today's topic. Before you ask, today's topic is choose to challenge. So fire away. I'll start. So choosing to challenge. We're going to talk about what have you challenged? Should we be challenging? And things like that. So I'll start with you, Ruth. Ruth, what have you challenged so far?
Well, it's an interesting topic, really, because I think it's something that we do every day. But I was thrown aback at work this week, more so probably because I was thinking of the challenge that we're going to have today. And I had someone speak to me in a rather very rude way.
All right.
And I thought that was not nice.
Okay.
But what I was surprised with the most was how the feelings that I had, when anger just comes in and do you react instantly or do you not? And after that, I was left reflecting, thinking, wow, how else could I have made that better?
So did you say
But
in that moment?
I did say to that person, but that there was no need for her to speak to me like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I chose to challenge, and she actually said sorry after. So,
Wow.
yeah, I mean,
Wow.
it was something that maybe under normal circumstance, I would have just let it go. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and just
Yeah.
said, you know what, I haven't got time for this. But this time I was like, oh yeah, our topic this week is choosing to challenge.
So
So,
that inspired
anything,
you.
yeah.
How did you feel after?
I felt good, but I also reflected on it because, when you challenge, sometimes it can be quite confrontational, isn't it? Like, how can you make it more enjoyable rather than feelings of anger and wanting to make maybe someone realize that there's another way of doing things.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's where I sort of choosing to challenge. It's something I am learning. It's something I do terribly. It's something I am sort of reserved about in some ways. But in that case, Ruth, like you're saying, you spoke to somebody who hadn't talked to you in a nice way, and you chose to say that's not right. Whereas I am honestly still working my way through it with people like that, where sometimes I've often found myself choosing to just step back and say, oh, I'll just let them have it or deal with it. But it's what it does to you afterwards. Like you're saying, you felt, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. You don't want to go away kind of thinking, I wish I'd said something.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So. I think I have been in a position, especially when it comes to confronting other people, where someone was absolutely rude at me at work. And because it's work, I could not give it to them. I had to find a way to challenge them respectfully. But I actually, and when I came off the meeting, I tell you, I cried a lot because that was my way of releasing my anger or my emotions, because I thought if I had challenged them, at that moment I was unable to challenge sort of in a good way. So I chose to leave it alone. But afterwards, when I came off and I thought, do I redial and just give it to her? But properly, I suppose I missed a moment to challenge what had been done. But anyway.
And maybe you did the right thing, Faye, because maybe you were looking at the situation around you, and I mean, you're possibly thinking, is this going to cause a huge stir if there are other people in the meeting? And maybe you can always still go back. Maybe sometimes it doesn't have to be instantly there. So I think that's actually quite good if you will still have the opportunity to talk about it, or if you've chosen to let it go in the hope that it won't happen again. But yeah.
What have you challenged?
I think I've just found that with some challenges, there's certain situations where you just kind of just feel like, even if I do, it's like a speck of water really in a sea, you know. Is it really sort of worthy? So it's more like kind of just picking your challenges. I mean, talking about work, I think I'm a very opinionated person, and I talk a lot, you know, so and I can't let anything, I don't like letting things go. I like always leaving the slate kind of really clear. So
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm one of those people who would not leave it till tomorrow, you know.
Wow.
I'm always kind of clear cut to say, look, you know, with your respect, you know, let's respect each other's roles.
I've heard people saying, when you hear people saying with due respect, they actually mean
they do.
Yeah. Well,
So
I think it's more like a reverse thing to sort of say, you know, like, I will give you the respect that you also give me.
Okay.
You know, in a way, you know. So in terms of a situation where I had to find something challenging I think it was more so when I moved to Ipswich from living in Coventry. I found they lacked quite a lot of diversity within the Ipswich as a whole. I got an opportunity to be part of a radio program, which was kind of inspiring and inclusion. It was more about inclusion, people, belongings, that was what it was called, you know. But during that program, you got to meet a lot of people, you know, like local MPs, and you be joined into meetings, you know. And I found when I did engage into sort of like doing community work, there are certain things that you kind of had to challenge within the meeting settings. They want to talk about issues that are affecting BME community people, but within their board, they've got nobody from the BAM community to represent us.
Okay.
You know, so I've had to be in a meeting where I've actually said, you know what, I don't think it's necessary for us to have this meeting because you guys are not prepared.
You go. Wow.
I'm gonna leave. And then we can come back to the table when you guys are ready to actually discuss the issues that are affecting our community.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
I mean, to them, it might have sounded rude, but to me, I think I needed to do that stand to say, there's no point in me discussing issues and you say you understand when you've not really opened the door of, you know, having people like who are like me. You know, you are making decisions for me.
So you were not only
affects me, but you're not me. Yeah.
And so you're not only challenging for yourself, but you were challenging for others, for the community.
Yeah, definitely. It was more of a challenge for everybody else. So I think the council.
And how was that? How was it received, though, Enala, when you?
I think when I spoke to one of the ladies, Chad, who had set up the meeting for me, she said to me, the lady said, "You're a no-nonsense lady."
Oh, nice. Nice.
And one of the chaps said, one of the guys there said to me, "You know what, Enala, you are definitely right. There's no point having a meeting about talking about BAM challenges when we are white people who are just sitting looking at you. It doesn't really make sense. We need to have somebody in this position who can relate to you. So you are definitely right, you know." So, and then it kind of birthed a program which they started piloting within Ipswich, where, you know, what are we missing within council? So that group which integrated all the little groups which are in Ipswich, whether be it a youth club or anything. So all the groups are more like one with the councils in
With the, yeah.
what is in the ground. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Enala.
So when you chose to challenge, you actually brought change. That's really amazing. Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I was doubting myself half the time when I'm doing it. But most of the decisions I made were inspired decisions of saying, it was more like around the issue of people understanding the stop and search. When I asked the question to the gentleman, I was like, "Sir, how old are you?" And he said he's 63. And I was like, "Have you been stopped and searched?" And he said, "No, I haven't." And I was like, I've got a 14-year-old. He's been stopped and searched twice.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
You're 65. You've never been stopped and searched. So how do you sit on the table and tell me you know how it feels?
That's really good. So ladies, when people say things like when people say you're a no nonsense person, how does that make you feel? Because go on and then I'll say,
I don't know. For me, if somebody says I'm a no nonsense person, I don't know. In a way, with my friends, my Caucasian friends, I've got to be the person who kind of just puts them in their place. To say, I'm not going to be the, "Oh no, we like you because you are our friend. We're talking about them." I am the them. So you got to be, sound right and be moral, around me. So I think if people say you're a no-nonsense person, that's their own impression of you. As long as you
take it as a positive. You took it as a positive. I too would take it as a positive that you're sort of saying, okay, and the reason you're now saying so is that it has now clicked that if you say something, I will put you in line, I will correct you, I won't let it slide. So hey, well done.
But I guess it's like that with all of us. I mean, growing up, I bet you always knew that if there was this person, they would put me in my right place, isn't it? So I mean, like it's just amazing, what you've done. It's really good that you've chosen to challenge, and you've done a lot for your community. And I'm actually very challenged. I'm thinking, oh my God, what can I do? The things that have challenged me mostly are, I've just realized even with when we have children. One of my friends said to me, "Ruth, we talk about traffic lights, how we've got cameras in the roads, and it's the same thing, that you need to apply to your children. When they do something, they need to have that challenge, or that, just to realize that, you need to do the right thing." So yeah, I guess we need to challenge our kids as well, isn't it? Like,
so when you say the traffic light system, what do you mean when you say the traffic light system?
So as if you're going out of hand, if you're driving very fast.
All right. So to be able to say to people, orange warning lights, red, just stop, green, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Or even the traffic cameras, the cameras that you get on the roads. How sometimes when you're driving really fast, and then you realize that you're actually, I'm going too fast. You've been challenged.
Going over limits,
there's a camera here, you need to slow down. And it's the same system that we should apply even for our children, to say, if they're doing something that's not right, or instead of just leaving it, we should have the courage to challenge them, to say, look, you need to do this. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, those are the things. I mean, not so much as vast or as enormous as Enala is that, but
that's still very, very, very good though. Like I say, I think it's those small things that begin at home to start with. So I remember growing up, I was the sort of person who never spoke back to our parents, but Faith was the big mouth that just didn't care. I was so scared, loved Dad, but I was so scared to talk back to Dad or to Mom. I just couldn't find it happening.
Yeah.
but Faith would do, and then she wouldn't get into trouble anyway.
By the time they'd be fighting your corner, you know, and then you would end up sort of thinking, oh, I suppose glad she talked or whatever, you know. But
that's very, very, very true. But yeah,
I was going to say, speaking about small challenges, you know, I'm reminded of when I went on a walk in the forest, you know, with the lockdown. Went on a walk in the forest, and there was this lovely little dog and its owner. And the little dog then did a little poo on the side, and the owner kept walking. And I thought to myself, wow, I come to this forest a lot, you know, and he's just let his dog defecate, and he's just walked away. And I sort of said to him, oh, excuse me, you know, nice. So I challenged respectfully, knowing that we are in a forest. This can get really ugly really quick, you know, and you know, it was a gentleman. And I sort of said to him, your dog has left a little parcel. And he sort of looked at me, and then he sort of said, oh, and then he came back for it. I think
wow.
He would have just walked, but I could see him sort of thinking, are you the forest police?
Yeah, that is so good.
That when you challenge things that, you know, things that are necessary, things that matter. Because I just feel that tomorrow I'm coming back again in the forest, and I'm going to put in it, you know. So
that's really good, actually, because I'm trying to put my.
Have we lost Sandy?
Sandy,
I think we lost Sandy a bit.
I think it's me.
Okay. What I was going to ask ladies was, is there a difference between challenging and confronting? So challenging and confrontation, is there a difference?
I think they go, for me personally, I just think they go in hand, but I think it's more so about the person's perspective. So what is it that you are challenging, and who are you challenging, and how they perceived the manner you came to them? You know?
Because can you say you confronted the leaders, and can you say that was confrontation?
It was more, I think it was more of I could say, if it was a confrontation, because I've been in these meetings, you know, to the point whereby, I mean, you come from a background where you are thinking, okay, fine, I'm not really a member of the society yet because I don't have my folk and rituals, you know. But then you move those stages, you're challenging those stages, you know, and then you move up, and then you're in a position to say, you know what, it's no longer just about me, it's about my children and everything. And especially if you're seeing what your children are struggling with within the area you've chosen to stay, it becomes more personal as well. So I think that's also included in a challenge. Whether are you going to take it personally, or are you going to be partial to it? So I think for me, I was speaking on a more of a platform of personal experiences to say, look, we can't continue having these meetings. If we live in a diverse town, we should be sitting on a table with Portuguese, with Romanians, with Polish, with Zimbabweans, with Nigerians. That's how our meetings should be, which replicates the community we are living in.
You're confronting
then we can actually have a discussion that is meaningful. Because if we have a discussion of just us two, we are missing a whole load of people that need to be included in this.
That's true.
Yeah, I think for them, maybe they took it as more like confrontation, really, I think, but which got good results as well.
I think challenge and confrontation can go hand in hand, but certainly from experience, I know that if you confront in a very rude way, you may not get change. Whereas if you challenge softly with no emotions or anything like that, then you can get results.
I suppose the word confrontation in itself is just negative.
Isn't it?
I confronted automatically. The barriers, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I suppose it's exactly what you're doing when you're challenging. You are confronting, but I also like what you're saying about having a filter, weighing the situation. Is it necessary for me to speak? And then choosing the right words, and then asking yourself, what are my intentions? Am I just picking a battle for the sake of,
Yeah,
or
true.
what do I want to achieve? Yeah. So I recently challenged something which was like a really big thing for me, and I felt rubbish after doing it. And I think that's how you feel sometimes. You kind of feel spent after choosing to challenge. I decided to start a petition for people to stop using the term people of color when they're referring to Black people, Asian people, and people of mixed heritage. Because I just thought, it's a term that further puts people into like one block, call it, and then you've got white people on one side. Now, I have a lot more Caucasian friends than I have Black friends, and I put it out on my Facebook, and a few other people had said, you did well to speak out. It was actually nagging me. It was so on my heart. It was like, I really need to do this, and did that on a very big public forum. And a few signatures have gone out for it, but still, I think there's a price to pay for choosing to challenge. Would you not? Would you not say? And you can either find yourself losing friends, or I think you choose to either lose something or to win something in that moment. I think there's a bit of both that happens in that moment.
I think when it comes to the issue of race, you always feel almost uncomfortable because you're thinking, how will my friends take it who are Caucasian? Will they think I'm challenging them?
Yeah.
Or will they think I'm challenging everybody else? Or, so.
Definitely. I mean, with challenging is somebody, you guys said, you spoke the word courage. You've got to have that courage, isn't it, to withstand whatever it is that you've challenged come along. Do you know what I mean? Like, or just have the courage to say how you feel at the time. You've only got like a small window of time to challenge something, and you just have to be courageous and do it, and don't feel bad about it, Sandra. It's good. It's good.
I do feel proud, but it's the aftermath. You get that feeling of, maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know, like I was saying, Enala, when you spoke out, you sort of, were you still feeling like, I've done it, or was there a little bit of you that went cringe? Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
When I left that meeting, I think I was only in it for literally 10 minutes, and I just said, there's really no need for us to have this meeting, and I decided to choose to leave. They were like, oh, so are we not having the meeting then? And I was like, yeah.
Wow.
So I left, but to be honest with you, I questioned myself to say, but there are certain things that need a grand statement. So it's more like making a statement, really. I think when we're talking about issues about discrimination, inclusion, and diversity, some of these things, they do need that grandeurs. They do need us having to do the marches. They need us to do the protest. They need bigger things, because it's just not you who's personally affected.
True.
We are at a generation where we are now, and we're still having to deal with things that our great grandfathers had to deal with.
Steps have been taken forward, absolutely. I also challenged during the Black Lives Matter movement last summer, and I rallied Bishop Stotford and friends, and we went out there in the fields to also show that we were not happy about the lack of equality, and also wanting to be, I say recognized as the people we are, not of people of color, not of, but just to be recognized as everybody else and to
as
have
people, period. Yeah.
Yeah, and fairness across the board. But you are right about that. When I sort of started this, doubt came in. Should I be doing it? Who am I? Little faith, an immigrant, so you start thinking about all these things. Is there someone else's fight? Okay, so steps have been taken, but it's one step forward, 2 steps back. And if I keep quiet,
it's a very big thing. You've just said their faith, to just say sometimes we're thinking it's someone else will do it. Yeah. And I think that's actually quite wrong. And yeah. And I think a lot of people do that, like you're talking about the person who's left their dog to do that. Honestly, I would have not found the courage to speak to someone like that and ruin my day, let alone theirs.
When you speak out, you actually find someone who come and say, thank you for saying that.
True.
I just, I've lost my voice, or I've done it in the past and I've been targeted, or I'm shy. Yeah. So when you speak out, it's for the masses, it's not usually a self-centered point of view.
It's just the same, actually, guys. I'm just thinking about, Megan, how she spoke about the experience of,
absolutely.
When she was in the royal family, I mean, it's things that we all experience those things as Black people, and
challenging.
You don't talk about it because for me, actually, when I had a talk, I could feel her pain, and it transferred to some of my experiences. Like you just normalize them, you get on with it. Whereas, she was able to speak out about it, like just have the courage to say, it didn't feel right. Whereas,
and that's why I was saying there's a price to pay for speaking out, for choosing to challenge sometimes.
Yeah. And platforms as well. I mean, given the opportunity to do so, I don't think if I didn't have this opportunity to talk about the issue of belonging within a community, how it's important and how it impacts our children, I don't think I would have had that sort of courage to actually just, go to the council office and demand to be heard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's to do with the opportunities that you kind of just have and the experience of it, really.
Well, Faye, you shared a very funny story with me about your visits to a local bakery store. I don't want to mention their name because they and I thought that was quite go on.
A couple of weeks ago, I went into town and I went to buy a pastry. Okay, shoot me first of all for that, just buying a pastry on my diet.
It's allowed now and again.
And I was on a walk, mind you, but never mind, that's for another day. So when I went into this bakery, the young man who was serving, he was changing the bin inside where he was working. And then I sort of walked in there, said hello, had my mask on. And then he says to me, oh, what would you like? I said, can I have a sausage roll? And then he actually left the bin that he had taken out, tied it, put it on the side, put a new one. And then he came and said, oh, I'm sorry, I just had to do that. I said, no, that's fine. And then he was about to touch the sausage, and actually give it to me. And I'm thinking, do I say something or do I just take home this sausage that's been touched with dirty hands? And I say to him, just can you wash your hands?
Wow.
And he says to me, oh, I can if you want me to. And we sort of stood staring at each other and I'm thinking, I want to wash your hands. So it was quite funny that even after I'd asked him, he says to me things like, well, I'll wash my hands if you really want me to. And I said to him, yes, please. So he went to the back. And I kept thinking, well, I don't know if he's washed his hands or not. Anyway, he sort of came back and he had a tissue that he sort of threw into the bin. And I sort of thought, oh, well, but it was done right at the spur of the moment, I could have just chosen to take a dirty sort of, I mean, he was using like the tongs, okay, but still,
Okay.
the issue of transferring bacteria and sort of thing. So,
Wow,
But
that was
did you
so,
tell
so
him why
big.
you felt like that? Or
no, I think because he was quite receptive, and maybe
Mhm.
he just acknowledged that, I suppose. He's just been
Mhm.
touching things. Maybe he acknowledged it, or maybe afterwards he thought, how dare she? I don't know. But in that moment,
I support you with that
So
one, Faye, because I'm one of
I,
those friends where most of my friends will say to me, "Go on, Enala, you do it, you do it," you know.
wow.
And I'm like, why do why do I have to be the one who has to challenge something? They're like, well, you're well spoken. You can say it. If I'm supposed to say, I'll say it the wrong
Because
way.
it's
So you
not
can.
easy, and I like it's not easy for everybody to speak out or choose to challenge. Like I said, honestly, I am really saying it's something I am learning to do now, and it's like it's really difficult. I was saying to Faith, what I would have probably done is I might have carried on, bought the pastry, and then chucked it in the bin. That's my money gone. And not chosen to say
not to offend, because
anything.
you're thinking you've offended him, you know.
Yeah. Or I might have then maybe changed what I was going to order. And if I wanted a sausage roll that day, I might have ended up having a bag of crisps that is closed because now I can't. So that's not fair. So it's not easy to
You have
speak
to have the
out.
confidence, you know, because like you said,
Yeah.
you think about what if the person turns around and says, no, I'm not going to wash my hands.
Then you have
Or,
an awkward situation. Yeah.
or if they say to you, Enala, in that meeting, well, Enala, that's up to you. We've given you a platform and you've chucked it. Thank you. And have you missed a chance to speak out for everybody else, you know?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. So it's,
But,
yeah.
so maybe I can just ask, as we just do a quick round robin, and say, what is your takeaway from today's Choose to Challenge? And if you want, you can also add if you're going to challenge something in the future, if there's something on your mind that you're going to challenge. So your takeaway, and then what are you going to challenge in the future? I'll start
probably
with Ruth.
Okay, so choosing to challenge takes confidence, takes courage, and takes guts. And what I'm going to take away today is probably, I don't know, I'm going to try and challenge at a global scale, something that is close to my heart. Probably something to do with exercising and children, and yeah. So we'll see. Watch this space.
Watch this space.
Sandy?
Okay, so I am definitely going to try and speak up in situations and not be quiet, and maybe just think that sometimes when I'm speaking up, it's not just for myself, and that I'm either educating the other person who's done something, and then I am also speaking up for either future generations or just for somebody who might be in that same situation. But then also recently, I came across a book, and I can't wait to get it. It's coming out on the 20th of April, I would say, yeah. It's a book to get. It's by T.D. Jakes, and it's called Don't Drop the Mic. So he's just done a little video on it, and I can't wait to get that book. And he's basically saying, don't drop the mic, don't stop saying. I'm not too sure exactly what he's talking about in the whole thing, but it's basically about amplifying your voice. There's ways to do it. You're not being rude, and you're not bringing about conflict. I think that's always been my issue, where I'm like, peace, 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 peace. I want peace, but then at what expense? So yeah, that's my takeaway. And yeah.
Good. Any?
I think my takeaway from this is it's more around the fact that when we do challenge people, we also have to be compassionate about how they feel about how we've challenged them, and use that as a learning process in future references, really. more challenges. As a mom of 4, I'm surrounded by challenges. Going through some personal issues at the moment. So for me, every day is a set challenge, but I kind of just set myself little small targets, and once I reach those, then that's good. I think one of the biggest ones that I have is it's more around just myself, personal journey, personal growth, accepting me, who I am, and healing as well, So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And you, Faith?
My takeaway has been, when you challenge not only for yourself, but challenge to make a difference. And I suppose as well, as a mom, as a Black person, I'll say the fight continues, isn't it? When we look what's happening in America, more so, you get to understand that it's just not over. It's a continuous journey where we have to challenge our representation, our presence in big stages, if you like. So it's a continuous. So I suppose as a mother, I will continue to challenge for the sake of the progress that my children and my grandchildren will be living in. So for future generations, we just have to continue to challenge, but even for the present. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's so interesting that we didn't so much mean to be talking about like race and discrimination, but it's very interesting how the conversation kind of like swayed that way, and very current. There's
hot as well.
Yeah, very, very current, and yeah. So I really enjoyed talking about this and just learning from all of you, and really inspired.
Oh yes, thanks for coming.
Any excuse well in your future challenges.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, keep being amazing.